welcome to another video. Today I'm going to do my final long-term review on the Altra Torin 5s. Altra Torin 5s came out last year in 2021 as a upgrade to the Altra Torin 4.5. They made modifications where they added the Ego Max midsole, changing from the Quantic midsole. They also changed the upper quite a bit. It basically was a brand new shoe, very cushioned with a 28mm stack height. I have loved these shoes. They extremely soft, yet even though they feel a little squishy, they're not too squishy for me because the Ego Max is responsive enough. It kind of pops up out of there. So I have found these just wonderful for long runs and recovery days. I've been very happy with the shoes. I said in an earlier video I was a little happy my Altra Torin 4.5s I wore through. I have kind of an inefficient foot strike on my left foot, and I wore through the rubber and was way down in the midsole by 330 miles, and I retired them. These, I reported on them at 240 miles. I had not gone through the rubber yet. At about 270 miles, I was out on a long, one of my 12-hour races. I was 30 miles into it, and I knew this rubber was getting thin, but it was still covering. Well, they came loose and it started flapping. I could hear it flapping. So I switched out of those shoes for the remainder of the run. I went home, I put shoe goo under it, glued back down the rubber. Well, that lasted until about 310 miles, at which point it just started, the rubber was so thin it started tearing it up, and by about 315, 320, the rubber came off. But I've had so much shoe goo on them that I just kept running in them, and they've been working fine. I'm at 430 miles and have decided it's time to retire the shoes. But again, these have been wonderful. They've been some of my first choice for long runs. I've really enjoyed them. There were a few things I did not like about the shoes. They have a long, thin laces, but you can see I could have easily replaced those. I did not. They still stay tied well. I just found double knotting them shortened them enough to where they worked fine for me. And the thin laces were a little bit harder to work for my aging fingers, but I never really had any trouble tying them, so I didn't even replace the laces, so no problem. The biggest thing that I didn't like about these shoes is this tongue. It was kind of hard and sharp, so I had to wear like a mid-length sock that went up above that level of my ankle, or it would dig into the front of my foot. But as long as I wore socks like that, they were not an issue at all. The Altra Torin 6, I have seen pictures of them. They are anticipated to come out in, I think, June or July of 2022. From what I can tell, the laces look a little thicker. I don't know that for sure, but they definitely address this tongue. It looks like it's going to be a softer and fixed, so you'll be able to wear them with low socks or no socks without any issues. My other understanding is the midsole should stay the same with the Ego Max and the same stack height, so the ride should stay the same. And I couldn't really tell if the upper changes much, but it looks very similar. I'm really looking forward, and I do plan to buy the Altra Torin 6 when it comes out in June or July. So I will do a review on them when I get that in, probably comparison back to the 5s. But I am looking forward to getting those shoes. But these have been really good for me, and I will say that if you have a more efficient foot strike than me and don't heel strike on your left foot where I wore through the rubber, these would probably last a good bit longer than the 430 that I'm getting. I can see some wear even on my right foot where I hit more forward. I'm getting pretty thin on the rubber up in the front part of the shoe. In the forefoot, so I don't think they would last a ton longer anyway, but for me. But I mean, like I said, these have been wonderful shoes. I've used them in a 48-hour timed race where I used them for the first 40 miles. I used them in my 12-hour race where I used them for the first 30 miles. I've also done multiple 20-mile runs in them. They have just been really good for me, and I also just like slipping them on when I just want an easy day. I don't find them the fastest shoes, even though the Ego Max is pretty bouncy. I found that most of that bounciness is kind of making up for how soft they are. So there are definitely more propulsive, faster feeling shoes, but these are still light enough. I think they came in about 9 ounces in a men's size 9. I think they were 9.84 on my scale for a men's size 11.5. They're still light enough and responsive enough that you can pick up the pace in them. I just have other shoes for that and have preferred these for my long and easy days. Anyway, that is my final review on the Altra Torin 5s. Again, a shoe I've really enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And other than that, I hope you're having a great day and keep moving.